Tymoshchuk is CEO of UFuture Investment Group and UNIT.City. To my right is Karin Rubinstein. She is CEO and President of Israel Advanced Technology Industries, UNIT.City. And finally, on the end, last but not least, Mr. Mike Harvey, who is CEO and President of he's the head of content and communication.
Instant promotion.
Web Summit.
Thanks.
Ukraine's tech and innovation sectors are truly hot. Growth in tech investment in Ukraine in 2016 to 17 alone almost tripled, with over 85% of that investment coming from foreigners. There are over 100 international R&D centers in Ukraine, most of them in Kyiv, among them Siemens, Oracle, Samsung, Huawei, Ericsson, and Boeing. Ukraine has over 100,000 software engineers, and that number is growing fast, which places the country in the top 5 in Europe. Ukraine is also third in the world for the number of certified IT professionals. Adding to that ecosystem is a robust VC community led by UBCA, our organizer here this week. And in fact, according to Techstars, there are more VC funds in Kyiv than in Warsaw, Vienna, Oslo, and Copenhagen combined. That's an amazing figure. Of course, as we know, Ukraine historically has an outstanding tech and innovation tradition, from the invention of the gas lamp to the building of the largest airplane in the world, to WhatsApp and PayPal, whose founders grew up in Kyiv, among many others. So, against this fertile and vibrant backdrop, I'd like to start with a question to the mayor. Mr. Mayor, given these impressive numbers we've just heard, Kyiv is well positioned to emerge as Europe's next hot tech hub. What do you see as the proper role for government in facilitating the development of tech hubs?
First of all, I want to say good morning or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will be very happy to be here today. Thank you very much for the invitation to take a part in this panel. And yes, of course, we're talking right now innovation. Innovation, everyone understands that without innovation, right now impossible to build a modern country, modern city. Innovation is the key for the future, and I'm represent right now capital of Ukraine, represent Kyiv, and ready to talk about innovation, what we did already in Kyiv. Just a couple of minutes, I need your time. Innovation make country, city much more friendly for investors, friendly for citizens, friendly for all guests, and Kyiv ready to present all so many changes and so many reforms and so many innovations, what we did already in the last couple of years. After revolution of dignity, I came actually 3 years ago to my office, and our main goal to change the management. The management has to be innovative and will be transparent, to be understandable for everyone, and it was not easy task, and it's innovation, it's very important for business, for investors, and also for success. Success of people, business people, success of the city, success of the country. 3 years ago, we received our system. The system is huge, big, unflexible, not modern, and also it's not secret corrupt. And to change the system, it's the main goal to make changes in city and also in the country. From beginning, it's a very interesting story. 3 years ago, here in Davos, I have a meeting with head of CEO of SIP, one of the largest IT company in the world. We're talking about innovation, and we're talking about smart city system, and we're talking about many steps and plans how we make our city and our country smart. I'm very happy 6 months after the meeting here in Davos, we starting to implement smart city system, and we're beginning from the open budget. Open budget, it's what does it mean, open budget? All income, all spending in city administration, district administration, every school, every preschool, every building, already 2 years work in Kyiv, everything's open, transparent, and every day more than a couple of thousand people coming to our website and to check what's going on in our budget, and we became immediately much more income. Also, we started a program, more than 1,800 municipal not corporation, it's an entertainment in city use the system, and expert told in this time we save 2.5 billion hryvnia. Also, it's also very important to use this community, to take a proposal, to use them, implement in the city. I ready to give you the numbers. Just last year, 564 public proposals what we used in Kyiv for community, and also we right now have in our budget 150 million hryvnia for proposals what we received from the citizens of our city. Also, very important to be open, to have a communication with the people, and because so many advices, so many know-how the people can present, the people can propose it, and we have special phone lines, 1551 in Kyiv, and just it's also work with Apple service. We visit over 1 million residents, give advice, calling, and make a proposal. Also, one very important issue, security. It's important not just for Kyiv, it's important for whole world. Security main question, especially in Ukraine and in the capital of Ukraine. I visit Israel. They actually covered all main streets, covered every school, every preschool, and it's worked well. And one example, just a couple of months ago, it happens very bad situation. Some persons city. It's work right now. The next step, it's we introduction of single electronic tickets for all public transport in Kyiv. It's work actually around the world. It will be working this year. Also, by the way, experts told 250,000 people involved in IT technology, IT sector in Ukraine. 250,000. It's amazing numbers. It's show how good educated youth, good educated people we.
Mr. Mayor, that's a great point. And on that note, I would like to, if I may, pop over to Nicholas to talk about UNIT.City in terms of this number. Nicholas, UNIT.City is really, in Kyiv, is really a city within a city. At 25 hectares, it's designed to promote business business, education, and innovation. And as I understand, it's well on its way to becoming truly a one-point entry into Ukraine for investors, for business, for new technology from around the globe. So why now and why Ukraine?
Well, I think a lot of it has been said by the mayor already. We are a booming tech scene, and most of the world ratings do confirm it. But I just want to, give an audience a more clearer, I would say, understanding how we are involved in that. So, UNIT.City is a flagship project of UFuture investment group. It's a conglomerate investment group founded by a prominent Ukrainian entrepreneur, who happens to be with us today. And we are involved in many, many businesses, real estate, infrastructure, renewables, pharmaceuticals. But same as all the world, we understand that without innovation, without high technology, none of those businesses, actually none of the areas of our life may be successful and may be competitive, both inside the country and on the global arena. And we are very both Ukrainian and international companies can find each other, be partners, be clients, be subcontractors. And I think one simple thing that it truly distinguishes UNIT.City among competition or in general on the global arena is that proximity matters. It's absolutely not enough to be in one city, to be in one country, to know each other or know of each other. You have to be in the same place, you have to rub shoulders, you have to share offices, gyms, cafes. And preparing that project, the team, I cannot name probably a single continent or high-tech campus or park or hub that we haven't visited to learn about their experience. But there's one particular experience I want to tell you about. When I was visiting high-tech campus in Eindhoven in the Netherlands, which is also same as UNIT.City, 100% private investment, I was stunned by that trip. So the managing company has this mile-long strip of buildings that host exclusively food courts and meeting rooms. And it's actually bigger than UNIT.City. It's around 50 hectares. It's a huge park. None of the residents, none of the buildings is allowed to have food courts in their premises. Moreover, they're not allowed food delivery. You know why? They make people, CEOs and interns, walk out in any weather to that strip to have food, to see each other, rub shoulders, to mix up. You know how Netherlands can be, how nasty it can be and cold and rainy in winter. I saw people fighting heavy rain and wind, in $1,000 suits or in jeans, actually making their way to that strip to have lunch because they have no other choice. And that's how they meet each other. That's how they communicate. That's how they recognize new faces on campus. And they do amazing, amazing business. It is a very successful model. And therefore, I think that this is something that we must employ, and this is one of the pillars of success. But physical infrastructure, as exceptional and big as it may be, because it's 25-hectare development in the very downtown here, it is not enough. It is merely a skeleton. But the brains of it, the very essence of it, is the virtual infrastructure that we in the high-tech industry call ecosystem. And this ecosystem is something that takes much more effort, skills, and time to build. And of course, the involvement of government and of city support, and also of our international partners, because ecosystem and tech hub means nothing unless it's connected to the global arena, unless it's connected to the fellow ecosystems all around the globe. And for us, first of all, this is the US, and this is Israel. US, I don't have to explain why, this is Silicon Valley, but Israel is 3-hour flight. 30% of people speak the same language, one of the most prominent and astonishing ecosystems and tech scenes in the world. So I think we're strategically well positioned. I think that it is only a start, that we're going to see much more coming. And so with all of this support and with proper international exposure, I think we are, I would say, doomed for success.
And on that note, I think it's appropriate to take a step back at this point and kind of go back to basics. Mike Harvey, I'd love for you to jump in here. You are with Web Summit, which is the world's largest tech event. You're saying you have over 60,000 attendees from over 160 countries. So you're very familiar with the global landscape. So what qualifies a city as a tech hub? In other words, how do you know it when you see it?
It's a good question. I mean, to expand a little bit on Web Summit for those that don't know, just to give context. So Web Summit, we run, our flagship event is Web Summit. It's in Lisbon. We're a startup. We started 7.5 years ago, founded by 3 young Irish guys. And we've grown to run 4 or 5 events around the world. And we have about 120,000 people coming to our events. In fact, the Web Summit is, as you say, 60,000 plus. We run an event in the US and Asia, and we do a fintech event in Europe as well. And obviously what we do is we see ourselves as a platform to support tech ecosystems. What we like to try and do is attract startups and investors from around the world. 170 countries participate in Web Summit this past November. And it's absolutely in our interest, and it's so pleasing to hear the steps that Kyiv and Ukraine are taking to blossom and be a tech hub. I think a lot of the things that Nicholas was saying there about what makes a great tech hub is exactly correct. It's about proximity, about geography. It's about having the startup engineers in the first place. It's about putting them together with creative people, with the people who've got the money, the investors, and it's about letting that marinate and then develop into really interesting companies. One of the things that always works with the tech ecosystem, and in a previous life I worked for Google and was involved in the tech campus, Silicon Roundabout in London, and obviously at Web Summit we work very closely with the Portuguese government and with the Lisbon startup scene and the incubators and Beta and all the other incubators in Lisbon to help promote what they do. It's about the best tech ecosystems share the hard knowledge, so they share the technical stuff about how to be a startup, about what products to be going for, how to market, how to reach out internationally, etc., etc. But they also need that proximity to share the soft stuff, so the relationship building and so on and so forth. There's a report called the Startup Genome, which I think really useful. You're interested in tech ecosystems and how they operate and how they work. They have a measure called global connectedness, and it's about how connected the people within a particular tech ecosystem is connected with other tech ecosystems, and it predicts success based on that connectedness. Now, obviously, somewhere like Silicon Valley, because it addresses a huge global market, those companies there are completely globally connected, and it's one of the reasons why Silicon Valley reigns supreme and will continue to do so for a long time yet. But it's also that explains why Portugal and Lisbon in particular is doing very well at the moment, because it has a very high global connectedness. It sees a lot of stuff going back. It talks to a lot of people in Silicon Valley and in the US, plus it also addresses Europe as well. And it's one of the reasons why perhaps some people have argued that Web Summit has helped the Lisbon ecosystem, because we bring investors and startups and CEOs to Lisbon in the same way that the mayor met the head of SAP here. Those connections, those meetings, those generate business, they generate money. And investment, and that's absolutely at the heart of every tech ecosystem.
Super. Karin, I'd like to go over to you. We've heard Israel mentioned already several times. You are the CEO of Israel Advanced Technology Industries, Vitaliy, the country's umbrella organization for high-tech and life sciences industries, with over 700 members, as I understand it, belonging to all parts of the tech ecosystem. So, Vitaliy is widely reviewed as a success story, as its best in show. What is your magic sauce? What is your USP, your unique selling point, and why are similar organizations in other countries trying to emulate you?
Okay, so thank you very much. And before I start, Nicholas mentioned the connection between Israel and Ukraine. As you see our slide, so maybe some of you know that some of the greatest leaders, prime ministers, presidents, cultural leaders, were born in Ukraine, and they came from Ukraine to Israel, and only for that I would like to thank the Ukrainian people. So yes, so first, it's impressive to see so much of you here that are interested in innovation. Yeah, we are a nation of innovation. We are not just a startup nation, as people call us, but we are one of the leaders in innovation in the world. It's not just startups. It's multinational companies, R&D centers, incubators, accelerators, a lot of venture capital firms, a lot of tech transfer, and a very strong academia. The IATI, as you mentioned, is the umbrella organization of all the high and life science industries in Israel. I formed it around 6 years ago, and actually it's the leading organization of its kind in Israel, and actually it's the leading organization of its kind in the world, in the sense that it gathers most of the sectors together. I think, and you will be surprised, we are a small platform, and I would like to stay that way, with low cost, and we don't do such big deals of ourselves, but the most important thing and the most, I think, difficult thing with my job is to synchronize and integrate the ecosystem, and not just the Israeli ecosystem, but the worldwide ecosystems together. So, yes, Israel is, people say it's the leading ecosystem in the world after the United States. I'm flattered, thank you for that. But I travel all around the world every week, and I can tell you for sure, I see more and more ecosystems around the world that are being built and make a very big progress. In order for us to stay leaders, I think we have to be global. We have to see global innovation and just the Israeli innovation. And after visited, I think a lot of countries, Europe, Eastern Europe, Africa, Australia, the United States, Latin America, and a lot of other places around the world, and talked to a lot of ecosystems and leaders. After visiting few times in Ukraine, I was amazed. I really was amazed, and that's why I was happy to get the invitation and to speak here. I was amazed mainly because of the level of the human capital in Ukraine, which is unbelievable. And Mr. Mayor, I don't have to tell you, you know that Kyiv has already earned Ukraine the status of the biggest IT outsourcing market in Eastern Europe and Central Europe. But now it's the time to emerge to a leading global tech hub. And for us, and for me, as an Israeli leader, I think we have a part and a lead role in making this ecosystem to flourish and to be one of the most new ecosystems, not just in Europe, by the way, but around the world. Israel see Ukraine as an IT resources. We have a lot of companies, still we would like to, we'll be happy to see more companies. We have a lot of companies that get IT outsourcing services, but I see more and more companies and leaders in Israel that think about Ukraine as much more than only IT, but as a hub of doing business.
On that note, Karin, you mentioned you unite all elements of the ecosystem. And here you were speaking to the mayor. To what degree are PPPs critical to your success?
Everyone thinks, and people know private, public. I work very closely with the government. By the way, Benjamin Netanyahu, our prime minister, just arrived now to Davos. We work very closely with him and very closely with the other ministers, but we work very closely also with a lot of ministers and mayors and leaders, government leaders around the world. It's a must. We cannot even think that we can do it only with the industry alone, but we have to cooperate also with the academia, not just with the government. And coming back to the unique thing that I found in Ukraine, and it was by coincidence. It didn't meant to be like that. I visited Vitaliy, I visited Nicholas. They invited me, a lot of people invite me to see UNIT.City. And the minute I saw it, And after visiting and read a long visit there, I immediately said, it's like unbelievable. I didn't see anything like it almost around the world. It's really the real thing. And if people haven't seen it yet, they cannot understand what I mean. And for me, it would be an honor to see Ukraine getting into the step for being one of the leading hubs in Europe and in the world.
Thank you, Karen. Nicholas, you just